Okay, let's rebuild the carburetor on this. It's pretty basic. Sometimes you can get away without removing the muffler, but a lot of times you do. Have little metal tabs that hold the bolts from backing out, so you just gotta pound those away. So you can get your ratchet and wrench on there. Let's see. Next to my socks. There we go. It's always a good sign when it starts coming off and doesn't break off on you. These things get rusted in there pretty good. There we go. Like I said, this is a 1990 model, so you may be dealing with something a little bit newer. A little bit older models generally just have a flathead screw. There's 4 little screws on the carburetor, the side cover plate for the pulse-jet system. The newer ones will have a Torx a little bit. Remove those 4 screws. Don't lose them. They usually got little washers on them. Usually they stay with them. Pull them off. When you pull it off, there'll be a little spring in here with a little, I guess it'd be a little protector thing so the spring doesn't actually cut through the diaphragm. Your diaphragm looks dried at all, it needs to be replaced. Just peel it off. Set these little screws aside. Okay, we're going to put a new diaphragm in, and you want to clean it out a little bit. Make sure it's nice and clean in there. I just use carburetor cleaner. That'll remove any gum or varnish. And then you want to spray, there's 2 little holes. One goes down into the tank. I can hear it going down into the tank right now. So that's cleaned up. Same with this. Usually it's always good to wear safety glasses when you're doing this because you're put it in these holes and it'll spray right back in your eye. Make sure all the passes are nice and clean. That pass is nice and clean. Just take a brand new diaphragm. This is generic. This is an original Briggs. This is just a Stens part number. I think it's Stens. I think they're 40 cents, something like that. You can't complain when they get that cheap. Again, make sure everything's clean. Just reassemble everything. Put the spring with the little guard. Get that out of the way. Sorry. Put the spring with the guard back in there. Sometimes you have to tip up the machine. Makes it a little bit easier. First, the diaphragm. Put that diaphragm on there. There's a little roll pin on the left-hand side right here that is kind of a helps you lock the cover exactly into place. Now the biggest thing is to make sure your cover doesn't slide around. So what you're going to want to do is the roll pin is already holding this side over here of the diaphragm. So we'll put the one in the other corner in. We'll just lightly wiggle it around a little bit, let it go in. I'm not forcing it. And I still want it to be loose. So I want to get all these screws in without the diaphragm being pinched or anything underneath there, because that'll cause you not to run. That'll cause you a headache. And then once they're all in, snug, don't over tighten these. They're really teeny screws. It's an aluminum carburetor. You'll strip them out pretty easy. There we go. There's old gasket. Goes in the garbage. We're ready to move around to the other side and actually clean out the main jet. Okay. Take out the main jet. It's right here. I have a 1/2 inch deep socket. Loosen it up. Pull it out. It actually looks pretty good. Okay, we got that out. Now take a flathead screwdriver, and there's a brass jet in there. Screw it out. Pull it out. In the middle of that, make sure you can see light through it. Take the carb cleaner. Spray it through it. Make sure it looks nice and clean, not gummed up. While you're at it, you can also spray out the tip of the needle. Make sure it's shiny, no old residue on it. And then you can go inside. Spray it out really good. There's a little hole at the bottom. You can angle your hose down in there. Make sure you get that. Generally, there's two little holes at the very back. Both go into the body of the carburetor. Make sure those are nice and clean. You can see all the way through those. Okay. Make sure everything's freed up. A lot of times your throttle, like just barely, was sticky. But by having carb cleaner in there, lubes it up. Well, it doesn't lube it up, but it frees it up. The gas just turns into gel. So that doesn't want to act. Should spring back really easy. Right now, it's on full throttle, on fast. Okay. Now, let's take our jet. Let's put our jet back in. Don't cross-thread it. Really lightly. Usually I back it up a little bit, making sure it wants to go in just right. If you're fighting it at all, you're going to cross-thread it. Don't cross-thread it. Put it in. Fairly snug. Take my main jet, and because I didn't screw the screw out, I just took out the bolt, it's set to where it needs to be, or at least where it was last time. You might have to adjust it a little bit. Let's try it out.